Coach, back at home with a tough overtime loss to Florida State, you guys grinded it out. What did you like this weekend out of the guys?
Obviously when the goal was to go up and get 6 points, and so we win on Friday, which was a positive. So we gave ourselves an opportunity to get the 6 points and win again on Saturday. And our start on Saturday was great. We played as well as we've played in the first period all year long, and unfortunately we put ourselves in some spots with some penalties that didn't allow us to continue to play the way we played in the first period. So the takeaway was we had some really good we had a good effort on special teams all weekend long for the most part, and we did some really good things in a tough place to play. Where we want to get better is we've got to work on not shooting ourselves in the foot and putting ourselves in positions where we can't get to our game and play 5-on-5 hockey for long stretches. It was too choppy there in the second period on Saturday night.
You talked earlier this season about how important that Friday win is and just kind of maybe struggling a little bit on the road. You got the Friday win last weekend. Coming back home, how imperative is that win on Friday?
Yeah, we've said for the last 3-4 weeks that every weekend's a big weekend, and because we don't have many weekends left. So last weekend we said, hey, this is a big weekend. We got to get points, and we say the same thing this weekend. In order for us to have a good weekend, a good Friday really, really helps. You'd like to not put yourself in a position where Saturday becomes must win and you don't have any points on the weekend. So we've got a tall task with a really, really good Minnesota State team coming into Slater Family Arena, and we just want to do the best job we can on Friday and then worry about Saturday on Saturday.
How do you approach this Maverick team?
You've got to be ready for everything, because they can beat teams in a lot of ways. They can score. If it ends up being a high-scoring game, they can score. If it ends up being a low-scoring game, they don't give up a lot of goals. They're good in special teams. They're experienced. They've won a bunch of games, so they understand how to win and what they need to do to win. So how we prepare is just to try to acknowledge the fact that we're playing a really good team and make sure that we are ready to go on Friday. The game doesn't start today. It doesn't start tomorrow. It doesn't start Thursday. The game starts Friday, so we need to prepare for Friday. And then when the puck drops at 7:07 on Friday, we have to be ready, because Minnesota State hasn't really taken their foot off the gas much at all the last 4 or 5 years. They will be ready, and they're really consistent, so we're going to need to be prepared for that.
They'll be without Coach Hastings as he heads to China to be a part of the coaching staff for the Olympics. What does that say about the strength of this conference?
Yeah, it's ironic that we play them, and we're celebrating two of our most famous Olympians, Mark Wells and Ken Morrow, and who were members of the '80 Olympic team, and it's really good for. They're good people. Mike Hastings is as good a coach as there is in college hockey, and he's a really good person. Does a great job with his program, and Nathan Smith is a great player for them. So for those two people to be recognized and get and accomplish being Olympians in college is really a good thing, not only for them but for our league, because they certainly deserve it. And so we'll celebrate that and wish them the best.
Now, similar to when St. Thomas came into town with Joey Sofo, Brendan Furry will be playing kind of back in his home area for the first time. How familiar are you with him just from his high school days?
Yeah, well, he's was a very good player for St. Francis, and actually my son, who's a couple years younger, did a tour of St. Francis when he was in 8th grade, and they knew he was a hockey player, so Brendan was the guy that was his host for the tour, and said he was a really nice guy, and everybody I know that knows Brendan says he's a really good young man, and we actually talked to him when he was in high school about a potential opportunity here, and then he went on to play junior hockey and ended up at Minnesota State, and he's done a really good job. He's my guess is that he's going to probably take on some more responsibility with Nathan Smith being gone. He's Brendan's one of their centers, and Nathan plays center, so it'll be certainly some ice time opens up for some other players, and we expect to see a lot of Brendan Furry this weekend, because he's a good player for them, and he's got to be excited to come back here.
Coach, you've had a few days to digest the matchup and kind of get into everything. What's the one thing that makes Minnesota State most dangerous?
I would say their depth, and then their experience. They've won the most games in college hockey over the last 5, 6, 7 years, and so it's not a coincidence. They're not a flash in the pan. They've been consistent, and depth and consistency are what. When I think about Minnesota State, they play good more than anybody in the country probably. And they're just they just have their depth is good. They're good at all positions. Obviously, McKay in goal is outstanding. He got his 100th career win, which is a huge number. They're good on the back end. They've got offensive defensemen. They've got defensive defensemen. They got forwards that can beat you. They got forwards that play physical. They're just they put together a really solid hockey team.
You've kind of gotten your third and fourth line back to strength here the last few days, or last few weeks, I should say. Evan came back from injury. What's been the message this week to those, third and fourth liners about that depth and about, playing well against this kind of team?
Well, when we get all four of our lines going, that's when we're at our best. We said it yesterday in our pre-practice meeting. The first period of Saturday's series against Fair State was as well as we've played, and I think 2 minutes into that first period, all four of our lines had played 2 shifts. So everybody was going. The shifts were short. They were on it. We were in their end. We were doing a bunch of stuff, and that's how we want to play. We don't want to rely on 6 forwards. We want all 12 forwards going and doing what they do. And the line of Pitters and Schneider and O'Hara has been really good. They had a really good weekend for us, and we need to be able to have confidence in all of our lines. And getting Evan back brings another player that we trust into the mix. And so the more of those players we can have, the better for us. Because like I said, we do want to play all 4 lines and roll the 4 lines and be a team that just wears you down.
You've had Salvatore within the program for about a week or so now. Just tell us about how he's kind of gelling with the program and fitting in with Christian and Pete there.
It's happened fast. Like we talked about last week, the first hurdle was getting admitted and getting a full-time schedule and becoming a full-time student. And then it was, okay, you're a full-time student. All right, now jump out for practice. And then, okay, you're ready. Okay, jump on the bus. We're going to go. And so it happened really quickly for him. I think being at home this week will allow him to settle in a little more, because he's got 3 brand new roommates that happen to be members of the soccer team. They had an opening, and so he's got roommates. He's got new teammates. There's a lot of new stuff going on, and he's handled it really well. And for him just to be able to settle into the routine, I think is the most important thing. And this week gives him that, because we're not hitting the road. He knows what his Monday looks like. He knows what Tuesday looks like. He understands his class schedule, and then and he's certainly falling into the routine of our practice schedule.